Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kimberly DeShon and I am a 4th grade teacher in Kentucky, and this is part 6, can't believe I'm saying that, of my classroom setup series. I was here yesterday, and yesterday was a day that was weird because I took a really long break that I didn't intend to take, and I came back and worked a little bit after, and then I realized that I kind of needed to go home because it was already 7 o'clock at that point. I did come in today, and the voice levels that I put up yesterday, one of them did fall, so I think I am gonna have to hot glue those up, which is fine. I've done that before with several things. I was just trying to avoid using hot glue as much as necessary. Also, if you hear random noises, they are waxing and cleaning the floors in a hallway that's not that far from me. They already did the ones outside of our hallway, thankfully, so but they may be going throughout, and so you may hear some noises. So I need to get my hot glue gun out and put that back up. I worked on cutting out some of the border. I'll show that to you. I cut out some of the border, which I realized while I was cutting out. I don't know if this was done on purpose, but the girl that made it, I don't know if she realized that some of the border is taller than the other. They aren't the exact same size, so I don't know. I'm gonna see how it looks whenever I actually have it out, because when you put it out, it may not, well, I don't know. When you put it side by side, it actually does you can tell. So I may have to cut that a little bit short to match, which is fine. I mean, it's just a little bit more work on my part. I have a lot more laminating I need to do, and like I said, a lot more cutting. So I might set you guys up for a little bit more of that. I know that that's not the most exciting part, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to finish cutting out this one border that I have, because this border I got for the big bulletin board right here. I think I printed enough for that. I'm hoping I printed enough for that one. If not, I can print more when I get home and just bring it up here, laminate and put it up. But if nothing else, I think I'm gonna try to get the bulletin board paper up today as best as I can. I do need to move these desks and things out of the way to get to the, thankfully this bulletin board is down a little bit lower, so it's not as hard. This one over here is up higher, but I still don't think it would be that big of a deal, and I do have the ladder in here again, so I can use that to help me. But I'm gonna get my hot glue gun out first and fix my voice levels, and then we will do some of this cutting and get some of this stuff done. And actually, before we do the cutting and laminating stuff, I might go ahead and try to get this bulletin board paper up, because I've been putting it off for too long. I just convinced myself that I just need to do it. So I'm gonna get you guys set up and we'll get started. So I went ahead and hot glued all of the numbers, even though only that one fell. I'm trying to decide if I need to do the label that says voice levels. It's smaller, and generally it's usually only the bigger sheets that want to fall down. I think that's why the numbers fell, because they're so big. I'm gonna leave it for now. The tape did seem to be peeling up a little bit, but I pressed it back down. If it messes up, then I will hot glue it up there as well, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. I did go ahead and start getting some more stuff cut and laminated while I was waiting for the glue gun to heat up. So I'm gonna keep working on that for just a few minutes, because I started cutting out my levels of understandings poster, And now that I'm thinking about it, I really don't know where I'm gonna put those because I really would like those towards the front. But I'm thinking maybe up by the door, because that's not a super hard place to see. And before, that's where I had like a rolling cart. So I know that it's not something that like I put there previously that I'm gonna put back there because the rolling cart's moved now. And I'm gonna keep it where it is right now. And so I think that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna put it right there by the door, because I used to have like a how will you go home thing, but I had that from when I thought I was gonna teach kindergarten, and 4th grade we don't really need that as much because they know how they're getting home. And if there's a transportation change, then we always get it via email, and I usually just write it up on the board or I tell the student directly. So I think that's what I'm gonna go do, is try to finish that levels of understanding, and then we'll hang that up, and then I will quit avoiding the bulletin board paper. Okay, so I got all of those cut out and ready to go. So we are going to set up the levels of understanding. But first I'm gonna wipe down this wall because it looks really gross. And I just realized how dirty it looked whenever I walked up on it. So we are going to wipe that down really quick, let it dry off, or use some paper towels and dry it off. And then we're gonna hang everything up. So here is my levels of understanding, 0 to 4, and then I put the rate yourself at the bottom. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have put this up a little bit higher, so that way this wasn't so far down on the bottom, but honestly, it's fine. 4th graders are not exactly super tall, so it's not that big of a deal. Originally, it didn't say proficient and distinguished here. I think it said like expert and then master or something, but because we use novice, apprentice, proficient, and distinguished for our scoring and for testing and all that stuff, I just changed it because honestly in my head it makes more sense to use the same language, and it allows the kids to get used to that language. And if they know that a 4 means that they're very confident and they could teach it to somebody else, that means that's a really good thing. So associating those two things, I think, just makes sense. Now, is that what you're supposed to do? I don't know. But I'm going with it because I think that it makes sense. So we've got that done. Now the bulletin board paper, which I am not excited for. honestly not mad at how it turned out. That paper is really easy to work with, so I see what the hype is about now. If you couldn't see my struggle, for some reason my stapler would not go through the top. It did in the corners, but the very top it was like, nah fam, I'm not doing that. Not really sure why, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But I got it to cover the whole thing and it looks so good. I'm so excited. Even if I didn't put border on it, I mean, although I did kind of go over a little bit whenever I was cutting it to after I like measured. So I will have to put border, but even without it, like I did pretty good. I'm proud of myself. So we're gonna go ahead and I think pull out all these desks to get the big bulletin board, which is going to be the one that I'm like, because I really just going all the way across without like messing it up. But because this paper is so thick, it's not like crumpling and ripping and all that stuff, which is the issue that I always have whenever I do it with just regular bulletin board, like butcher paper. And so I'm hoping that even though it is a much bigger space, it won't be so bad. probably saw with my struggle, I did not realize that basically each one of those rolls is only 2 normal size bulletin boards, and I forgot how huge that bulletin board in the back of my room is. I knew it was a big bulletin board, but I didn't think that it was going to be like 2 full-size bulletin boards. I never really looked at it that way, just because usually it was covered up with stuff. So I ended up just getting my second roll out and using that entire roll to fill that one. So the last piece that I had from the first bulletin board will do that last bulletin board at the end. And then I'm gonna have to get another roll for this bulletin board right here. So hopefully I can get that in relatively quickly, because that would suck if I had to wait too long, especially since I kind of already annoyed with this. I think the issue, I don't know if it's my stapler or if it's that cork board underneath, but like sometimes my staples will go in perfectly, and then sometimes like they're not wanting to go in, or they pull back out instead of locking into the cork board. I honestly think it's because the cork board isn't super good quality. So you probably saw me getting a little upset with the border because I kept having to pull staples out and then re-staple it. But it looks really good so far. I only did what I have cut out so far, and I did do that thing where I trimmed off that extra because I said that the border was a little bit thicker on the second one for each of the pages. They weren't the exact same size. But I do have all of the border laminated, so I think now I'm gonna finish cutting that out and see how much more I'm gonna need, because I have all of this over here done, and I think I used, I think I have 8 over here, 8 sheets of paper over here left, which means I have about 7 that I used over here on this side, which means I'm definitely gonna need more because it only covered the bottom and then 1 side piece. So I'll probably need at least 2 or 3 more sheets to fully do the entire thing. But that does tell me, because I printed the same amount for this bulletin board and it is smaller than that back one. This is the one I printed for that bulletin board. So that tells me this will be plenty for this board right here. So that's good. And I only printed 10 sheets of the ones that go on the smaller board. So I'm hoping that will be enough. I did do this kind of border for those ones, which means I'll be able to cut this off with my paper cutter, but I'll have to like go and hand do this, which in hindsight, I'm like, why did I choose that? But I thought it was really cute. So I know a lot of people do like double borders and stuff. Because I am literally hand cutting all of these out, laminating them, and putting them up in sections, I don't think that I'm gonna do double borders. Maybe if I am feeling fancy at some point, I will eventually add that in later on. But for now, I just want it to look nice and cohesive with everything matching. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish cutting out these border pieces that I have for the rest of the big border. And then I will work on cutting these ones out and try to put it on the other border that I have, because I need a break from that stuff and the stapler because it was making me very angry. I'm gonna see if I can, I know I have another stapler somewhere, I just don't know where it is. If I can find it, I'm gonna try another stapler and see if that's the issue, but I don't know if it'll be an accurate test because the cork board at the end is not the same as the cork board in the middle. So it's not even the same type of material, and the ones on the end were painted over while the one in the middle is not. So that being said, I don't know if it's gonna matter either way. But regardless, I do have a nice stapler in my classroom wish list on Amazon, which is in the description box below if anybody wants to be super nice and order that for me. One of the things that I really want to invest in, and if I don't get it before the school year, I probably will just bite the bullet and get it myself, because I have been donating plasma all summer to try to save up some money to be able to get some things. That's how I got the bulletin board paper and things like that. But a rolling like podium where I can put, because a lot of the times when I'm doing things and I'm projecting it on the board, I have to go back to my desk, and I do have a little clicker thing, but sometimes it works, but I also need to go back to my desk because I can't like navigate to another thing while I'm walking around monitoring. And it's always the moment that you go back to your desk that something happens, regardless of what the reason is. And I'm a get up and walk around kind of person anyway, especially when they're doing like group work or partner work. I like to get up, walk around, listen to them. If they're partner reading, I like to listen, things like that. So that would give me the opportunity to still have whatever I need in front of me. Or even if I'm going around doing like really quick like fluency checks while they are doing partner reading. I know most people use a clipboard, but I am super clumsy and it never fails that it ends up just being a big mess and I mess things up. So I'm like, oh, well, if I have something in front of me that I can sit down and I just roll around and write on, I feel like that would be so much easier in some ways. But that was like a big thing that I wanted at the end of last year that I have told myself that eventually I will get regardless. But I put it on my wish list because I'm really hoping that somebody will be generous enough to do it. I know it's kind of expensive. It's like $75, but it is something that I really, really feel like would be beneficial, especially as an intermediate elementary teacher, because we are more independent. So my job more so is to facilitate and walk around and see what I can help with in those moments, rather than me being up at the front all the time and pointing at things, because that's not necessarily what needs to be done with fourth grade. So anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling. I'm gonna work on cutting out these border pieces. I'll set you guys up and hopefully we'll get all those done, and I'll put the rest of the ones that I have up, and I'll be able to probably eyeball how many extra I'll need based off of how many I use on each side. That's usually what I do whenever I do this. I really wish I would have remembered how many I used last year, because I did the same thing with the day course that I had last year, but I just took it all down and didn't even think to look at that. Actually, my kids helped me take it down at the end of the year, so they didn't think to look at it either. So, but it is what it is. I know I printed a little bit less than what I thought, because I didn't want to like print way too much, because I am trying to conserve ink, because I did buy ink myself and I'm printing everything at home myself, because we do not have a color printer here that always has ink. We have one, but they tell us basically to use it sparingly, and like at the end of last year she said that it didn't have very much ink, and I don't know if she's ordered any yet. So she said she didn't even have enough for me to print like 30 class award certificates. So I doubt she would have enough for me to do a bunch of this stuff, and even if it was, this is a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and get this done and start working on cutting that stuff out, and then hopefully I will have my stamina back and not be as upset with my stapler to get the last bulletin board background up for that back bulletin board that's in the corner. And I need to also decide what border I'm going to do for that back one, because I didn't end up printing it off last night. Last night I got home pretty late, and then I came home, ate something really quickly, went to the gym, didn't get home until like 10 o'clock, and then I had to be up really early to go over to my ex's house because my daughter was over there and he needed to go to an interview. So instead of waking her up and disrupting her sleep schedule, I just went over there and stayed at his house and just chilled while she was still sleeping. And when I left, she was still asleep. So love that for her. But it gave me an opportunity to come up here a little earlier than I normally do and try to get a lot done. So I do think I might go ahead and do that smiley border, even though I'm not like in love with it, but I think it fits the calm down corner theme, and that area over there is going to be my calm down corner, even though I may not use the bulletin board itself for calm down corner posters, because I just don't really have any, but we'll see. I'm just basically trying to take everything one step at a time, and whenever I look around, I'm like, okay, this looks like a good spot for this, or this looks like it'd be perfect for this. That's when I'm going forward and putting those things in. So let's go ahead and get started. got these ones laminated for that bulletin board up there. And then I got the rest of these cut out. So we're gonna go put these up. And then these ones are the ones that are gonna go on this board, I believe. So I started working on cutting those out. And like I said, I can only do the edges with my paper cutters. So I'm gonna have to get my scissors and actually go around the curved edges, which, like I said, I'm not sure why I decided that, but they were really cute, so it is what it is. I've already done it, and we're just gonna commit to it. So let's get set back up and get these put up to see how many more we're gonna need to print off. So all of that is put up, and as you can tell, I made sure that the flowers were all on the outside. So when I got up here, sorry, it's wanting to focus on my hand. When I got up to the top of this, I flipped it where the flowers were facing upward. So it's all the same kind of direction whenever you look around it. It looks like I need 4 more strips, so I need to print off 2 more sheets of border, which is not bad. I was pretty close. But like I said, I honestly forgot how big this is. I was just kind of guesstimating in my head. I was like, okay, a normal one is what, like a 6x9? Not 6x9, but a 4x6 or something like that. So I was like, okay, 6 times 2 is usually about 12 feet. I was kind of doing that kind of math in my head, and then trying to add all the sides up. I was pretty close. I'm not mad at it. So that part is done. I'm going to finish cutting out the border for this, and then we will put this one up. So I've got all the pieces cut out. My hand really hurts from all the cutting. I literally have like a sore over a scratch from a kitten, but it is what it is. So we're gonna get this put up on the other bulletin board and we'll see where we're at from there. Extra that I did not need, so I need to keep that in mind whenever I print the border for this one. So it looks like 2, 3, 4. I probably need to only print like 6 pages instead of 10, because that's how many I did of this one, was 10 pages, which would have been 20 pieces. And that bulletin board is the same as the one over there. So I won't need as much as I need for that huge one. But that part is done, so I'll let you guys look at that. And here's what it looks like. I really like the checkerboard. I don't know why, but I just think it's super cute and I love the little flowers. And I think it looks really nice with the bulletin board background. And that's the first one that's like fully put together, because this one's still missing the sides, so it's very satisfying. All right, I think I'm going to try to put up this last bulletin board background and see what else I have time for. I've got one of my coworkers meeting me here at 3, and it is almost 2, 1 minute till 2 now. For us to plan a writing PD that we are doing together at the beginning of the year. And then right after that, we're having our SBDM meeting. So we need to be working on that as long as we can before we have to do the SBDM meeting. So I'm gonna put this bulletin border up, and then that'll probably be the last thing that I do for today, at least during this time. I don't think that I will come back in here and do anything, because I've been in here for quite a while now. And I've got to go donate plasma after the SBDM meeting, and I have to go to the gym later today. So I think that's probably gonna be the last thing that I do for this one. But let's go get the bulletin board paper up. board is done, and I was right. It is basically 2 full-size normal bulletin boards in each one of those rolls. So I'm gonna go on Amazon today and order another roll so that way I have enough for my other board. But this one, I had a couple staples in it. I'm sure you saw I had to go and pull them out. And I think there's another one, but it was already covered and I couldn't get in there without ripping a bunch of stuff out. And honestly, I think it's fine. It's not poking through or anything. And it's just gonna get covered up with posters, so it really doesn't matter. But I got it all cut out and it is ready for border once I go home and print those. So that is done. All right, guys, that is going to be it for part 6 of my classroom setup series. I really hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I know a lot of it has been painting and cutting and laminating, but that is part of this process, especially if you bought like a decor pack on TPT like I did, because you have to do all that stuff in order to be able to use the stuff. And I mean, you could go buy pre-made sets, but a lot of the times that's more expensive and you don't get nearly as much. I love the ones that are created by teachers because they oftentimes include things that you don't think about whenever you're buying those things. Like the levels of understanding chart and things like that I use in my classroom, but I don't really think about having as posters. That would be great to refer to. And I feel like you get so much cuter designs than just the ones that you can buy offline or from like your Learning Railroad type stores. That's the one we have here. I don't know if that's a commercial one or if that's just a local thing, but either way, that is going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I super appreciate it. Be sure, if you enjoyed the video, to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to keep watching, as well as future videos. I don't know when the next time I will be back because my father's dad just got a new job today, which is great. The interview that he went to, he ended up getting the job. But that means that he was supposed to be off Monday and Tuesday, and now he's going to be working those days with his new job. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I may come up here Monday because he gets off pretty early, and Mondays are the days that Layla goes over to his house. So hopefully I'll be able to get some time up here, but if anything, I really should just start bringing some of this stuff home that I've laminated and cut it out at home, and then that way I can just come here and set it up. But I like to leave all that stuff here because sometimes when it's at home, things can get messed with, and my daughter loves to get into stuff, especially paper. So whenever I print things, I always leave it in my office area, and she doesn't go in there unless I'm already in there. So I know that it doesn't get messed with. But if I had it actively out while like she was playing and stuff, I guarantee it would get messed with, and I don't want to have to reprint a whole bunch of stuff, even though it's really not that big of a deal. It just makes it easier if I don't even present it as an option to her. Once she gets a little bit older though, she's gonna come up here and help mama. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great time zone wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.